So, Boone, I just want to start by asking how you came on this road. I mean, you spent a career in oil, and at some point you departed from many of your brethren in the oil industry. What kind of got you launched on this that led to the start of your campaign a couple of years ago?
You know, Jeff, this is kind of a strange story, but it's an answer to your question, and of course it's an honest answer. But I kept seeing year after year people that ran for president, either Republican or Democrat, it didn't make any difference, that some point in the campaign they would look at the camera and say, elect me and we'll be energy independent. And I thought, really, is this going to just happen, or do you have a plan? And I blame you, the press, and the media and all, that they never held these people to that remark. And I had two experiences with candidates. One was Bob Dole in 1996, and he wanted me to be Texas chairman for him. And I said, I will, but I've got to be the energy advisor in the campaign. He said, okay, that's fine. And so days went by, weeks went by, and we never talked about energy. And so we had a time that we were waiting on something to happen. I can't remember what it was, probably in a green room someplace. And I said, why don't we talk about energy now? And he said, okay, go ahead and talk about it. And I said that if you win 2 terms, I promise you in the second term, remember 96 plus 8 be 2002 or 3, I said, you're going to be neck deep in energy problems as President of the United States. And so he listened to me and all, and he said, well, let me teach you something about politics. He said, you never waken a sleeping dog. And you see that sleeping dog there. And I said, if you say it's there, okay. He said, Clinton is not going to wake that dog up, and I'm not either. And he said, consequently, energy will never be discussed in this campaign. But if it is, I'll call you. I never got a call. It was never discussed. And so, but both of them did say we would be energy independent, but there was never a debate or anything on the subject. And so I never got a chance at that time. But the other one was a person you all probably don't remember. He made a cameo appearance, Rudy Giuliani. You remember he came and went real quick. You remember that deal? Well, I was his advisor, but I said, please don't get up and say you're going to be energy independent if we elect you. And he said, okay, and the next week he did. And so I didn't influence anybody, and I haven't yet, that on this subject about energy and what presidents say. So I went through that period, and then I still remember Nixon in '70. He said, at the end of the decade, we will not be importing any oil. When he made the statement, we were importing 24%. End of the decade, it was 28%. And I thought, gosh, this thing is crazy, the way these guys throw this around like it's not important, or they don't understand it, or we don't understand it, or something. And so I struggled with it, and my wife had to hear it. And so I woke her up in the middle of the night, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and I said, Madeline, I said, that the American people have to see this, understand it, and I do have a solution for it. So I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend some money to explain the story, and then I'm going to explain the solution. This kind of ties back. I never was in the service. I was a little bit young for World War II. I was born in '28, and so the war kind of was over about when I was 16 years old. And Korea was my war, but at that point I was married and had a child, and so I didn't serve. And so I always felt sometime I'll get a mission. And this one showed up, and I had a lot of money, and I could afford to pay to tell the story. So I spent $62 million, And that very simply is the deal. Madeline did say in the middle of the night, she said, I'm sure you're going to be the one that's going to do this, but let's go back to sleep and do it in the morning.